Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's edition of the Daily Stand-Up. Without any further ado, let's get started. My name's Lee Henson, president and founder of AgileDad, and this week we're discussing the top 5 Agile trends, the things that we're seeing happening here in 2020. You know, it's a whole new world with working from home and COVID and lots of things going on around us. But one of the things that's trending pretty heavily right now is a refocus on Agile leadership roles. Now, the Scrum Alliance has taken a lead on this by changing up the way that they're offering their Certified Agile Leadership certification, or the CAL. We saw that now they're having CAL for teams, CAL for organizations. So they've really changed up the way that they're offering the CAL certification. And I feel like this is a healthy change. You know, Agile trends affect more types of teams and emphasizes a clear definition of the Agile roles in specific work context. And I think the one that draws the most confusion probably is where Agile leadership falls. Compared to other strategies, there's just no one true leader in an Agile organized team. Instead, the responsibility tends to get divided across 3 roles, and of course those are product owner, scrum master, and team members. But that begs the question, what happens to the role of product manager? What happens to the role of project manager? What happens to the role of team lead? You start to see that in many organizations, while the trend should be to reduce roles and to flatten within the organization, what we're finding is that organizations are trying to create additional roles to piggyback on other roles to try to make up the difference. So let me explain. I was recently in an organization where I had the opportunity to do some certification work, some certification classes, and I also had a chance to work with the executive team for coaching. And I asked them about what they understood regarding the product owner role. And surprisingly, they understood a fair amount. They were able to tell me clearly who their product owner was, where they learned about the product owner role, what they felt like the product owner should do. And I have to admit, at first, color me impressed. I was like, wow, it seems like they really get it. But then they said, the problem that we're running into is that the product owner cannot handle working on all of the different, projects or products that we need them to work on to get them going at the same time. So this organization was really struggling with trying to find their next winning product or service. So what they did is they put the product owner over 4 to 6 different products. And then shortly thereafter, they said, we have a product manager who makes sure that they push the product owners to meet their dates and goals and deadlines. And the product manager is going to manage the budget. So the product manager is managing a budget and a deadline, and the product owner is trying to manage the scope, which I found really, really interesting because it didn't make a whole lot of sense, because they just wanted someone to manage the scope over a whole bunch of different products or projects, and they called that person a product owner. Now, while I wholeheartedly agree that the product owner should be managing a backlog and they should be taking care of the work, having the role of product owner and product manager tended to create a lot of confusion between who was responsible for making decisions. Not to mention that when you spread a product owner that thin and you don't allow them to have any extra help from analysts of any kind, whether it's a business analyst, a functional analyst, or a technical analyst, what you quickly discover is that this product owner isn't aware across all of those different products or services you're trying to build. They're not completely aware of all the consumer's wants, needs, whims, and desires. They're not completely aware of the strategic direction that we're trying to go with a product. And they're certainly not aware of the technological feasibility. So because the product owner was lacking and they were trying to spread so thin, instead of trying to reduce the work in progress and reduce the number of projects or products in scope, what they wound up doing was creating a role of product manager to try to give oversight, general direction, and force feed these products out the door, which of course, as you can imagine, resulted in nightmares, loss of sleep, and certainly people having their will to live sucked away. It's just amazing to see how one role could change a lot. The other coupling that this organization was trying to do was I asked them about the Scrum Master role. And on the surface, they're the hands-on leader of the team. They're in charge of monitoring tasks. I was like, ooh, this isn't sounding good. But then they really drove it home for me. They said, but we rely heavily on the project manager to ensure that the Scrum Master is keeping their teams on track and that everything will be delivered timely and within budget. So now they have two people who are responsible for the budget. The project manager is the quote-unquote boss of the Scrum Master, and the Scrum Master is the hands-on leader of the team to monitor their daily stand-ups and their sprints. It was totally confusing. There was just this look of awe when I was like, I can't believe what I'm hearing, right? So this created some additional complexity and confusion. Not to mention that above all this, they had someone called a solutions manager who was there to oversee everything regarding the project, including the architecture and infrastructure, which would have normally fallen on a team lead. But they decided that because they learned about Agile and flattening teams and not having team leads, that they would create this solutions manager position to be an extension of the architect to oversee the teams and to be the team's manager. So now you had the solutions architect who was a team manager. You had team leads still who were responsible at any point for giving the team guidance, especially if they're junior team members, almost like mentors. You had Scrum Masters and Project Managers and Product Owners and Product Managers. I don't think I have to say any more. If you're creating this type of confusion in your organization, you need to stop. The key here is instead of creating additional roles, your goal should be to reduce the number of roles, keep your teams lean, keep your teams together, keep your teams right-sized, and reduce the amount of work in progress. If you can focus on reducing the amount of work in progress, you can certainly operate under the pretense of having a strong product owner who's assisted by analysts that could scale multiple products or projects, a solid Scrum Master who governs teams and works closely with team members so that team members are only responsible for building relationships with a single individual Scrum Master, and team members who don't have a team lead or leader that work together to hustle and to learn from each other and become T-shaped individuals and create opportunities where they can work directly with the product owner and a Scrum Master so that they can reach those key stakeholders and swarm to build the latest products or services necessary in order to help people to reach true business agility. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you get it. But one of the things that we're seeing is confusion with Agile leadership roles. So I wanted to make sure that we at least touched on this and made sure that you understood the context of what we're trying to drive home. One of the things that I learned is simplicity is always better. When in doubt, go simple. The easier you make it, the better it's going to be. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you found some information here that'll help drive the value of Agile within your organization. Stay tuned for the rest of the week as we focus on numbers 3, 4, and 5 of the top 5 hitting Agile trends. Until next time, we encourage you to stay well, stay healthy, and stay Agile, my friends. Whatever you do, do take care. We'll see you soon.